not know. That's what happens. You see? Because some of you send your names Tete Bie, Tende Chan, and so no problem. So can you send it to my WhatsApp? Yeah. Okay. So who else here has not sent the assignment? We have not. So not an issue that you can go debating. If it is WhatsApp, I'll get it here. Okay? I don't even have your name here. Not even that. Right? So that's the trouble. You sent it to my WhatsApp and it accepted.
Yes, it should.
Zero what? What's the number?
099.
116?
99.
99?
Yeah, my number. You mean my number?
What do you want?
I thought you were saying
your number so that I can capture it here. It means just come as anonymous.
08098.
What are you talking about?
I'm telling you my number.
So your number is 0809?
098.
Yeah?
55. 18.
2? Yeah, it will come if it is there. It is not there, it will not come. Okay. Esther, Rubaini, you sent? Huh? Esther Rubaini. Okay. Mose, you sent? Yeah, Zimba, I think, yeah. And I think the results for the mid and church have been entered. No, sir, yes.
I'm saying that time when I did my first assignment, I didn't have a phone. So I sent through someone's email. I don't remember who, but one of my friends.
Excuse me, you mean you have a friend who you cannot remember?
No, but I have a lot of friends. I don't remember which email I used.
Oh, you have too many?
Not too many. I'll ask them.
Yeah, okay. I'll wait and see. All right, so anyway, let's just proceed. As I said, we are looking at the policy and the evaluation, and also why it is important. I think I did mention that as something which is systematic, and we're just trying to measure how efficient or effective you have been. And also, it involves data collection and analysis, because that's where you're going to get your results around. And as much as it is an evaluation, it is not just an end part of it, but it can be continuous. And we're going to see as we proceed how it can become a continuous process. And why policy evaluation? It does help us as a beneficiaries, that's one thing. Also as a policy makers or decision makers, to understand and also learn from the process. Because as a process, in any process, you learn a lot of things, right? In any process, because you are moving from probably the known into the unknown, right? So those processes can create a lot of problems in whether or not you are going to achieve what you can or not. So it becomes a process where too many people learn from that evaluation process. So it could be decision makers, implementers, stakeholders, or beneficiaries as well. And as I said here, it becomes like what you call a learning curve, right? A learning curve. Anybody who knows what a learning curve is? A learning curve, in a very simple explanation, I wish we had something that I should have used to illustrate here. A learning curve, you know a curve, right? CURV. Okay. Let me just illustrate it quickly. So, what is a curve? Look about what do you think this is? We are nobody. Nobody. See, I just lost. Okay, what is a curve? Right. Is a curve, brother. What is it? Now, in life, there are times when we learn certain things, right? Because of certain things, for example, right? Because of experience, sometimes you can learn a new thing or you can learn your old mistake, right? Now, a learning curve, for example, let me just give a simple example here of students, for example, okay? So here you have 100%, you have 60, you have 50, of course, this have 90, 80, and 70, and so forth, right? So forth, 20, 10 to 0, right? And here you look at your level of preparedness or whatever it is, and something like that, right? In terms of your preparation for the exam, for example, right? You start preparing first week, before or second week, third week, fourth week, and fifth week when you are going to have an exam. So we're just looking at that. And from your own experience, you know that when you write an exam, right, and you prepare from week 1 to week 5, your performance will go out to about 80% or let's put it 90%, right? Yeah. And it will just be like that. So you're a 90% performer here. And you reach that at week 5. Right? Now, from week 1 to whatever it is, right? And so forth and so forth. This is how you are. Right. Now, you start from first to 5th week. During an exam in that particular subject, you score a 90. Right? And there will be somebody who knows an exam is coming, but you will start preparing week 3. Right? So week 3, he will be here at 0. Week 4, he will be at 30. That's week 4, right? And at week 5, he will be at 40. So that this one will be a 40% pass rate for this individual here. Right? And so forth and so forth. Or you start preparing last day of an exam. You mean you are here. So you are here, it will be a 0% at that one. Does that give you an example of what we mean by a learning curve? A learning curve is a situation where when you compare what you do, right, using certain processes, right, and your achievement, and when you compare what you do with maybe less of fewer processes that you put in, right, you see the variation in what you score, what you achieve, gives you the learning curve. So you learn, like here. You know, if you start preparing the last minute, the chances that you will not pass is very high, you get 0, right? If you prepare right from week 1, the chances are that you are going to get up to 90%. So your learning idea is that an examination is not supposed to be prepared on or during the last week of an exam, right? But right from the way to go, first week. That's what it means, right? So what the discovery of your performance here gives you the learning curve. Something that you have learned from as an experience. Look there. Okay? Let's look at the children, for example. The preschoolers are not going to go to preschool. If you take that child who has been here and one has never been in preschool, right? There is quite a lot of things that you can learn from them. How they behave and how they act and react and things like those. And like the other ones never been exposed. Right? When I think gorilla becomes socially grown or something like that. Now, you are not sending a child to preschool to mix with others to improve that child's social being. Versus the child who goes there becomes your learning curve to understand how children grow up and develop, right? By exposure or something. So then exposure of your child to a service becomes your learning curve. So you understand that next step up to now, if this is your score, because you have started preparing now, right? And there's somebody or you, when you're in first year, you always used to prepare right from week 1, and the performance was very high. That gives you a learning curve. It means something somewhere you are not doing very well. So your experience becomes your learning curve, right? How do you improve? How do you do it and stuff like that? This was it. Now, in evaluation, it also does give us that type of learning curve. How do you understand why? For example, is it the policy development processes which were not well designed? For example, why did you fail to achieve what you wanted to achieve? When you sat down and designed that, so it gives you an area to learn. So an evaluation also gives us that type of learning, right? And sometimes the policy can be designed targeting people who don't deserve anything in that particular area. For example, another very good example of the learning curve is, let's assume you're a government officer, right? You come into area 15 and you said, here we are building we're building a primary school for your children, right? In area 15. That's a primary school for area 15, and it's government school, right? You build it, no problem. Now, after completion, you expect children to be enrolled, right? And you discover that 2, 3, 4, 5 months down the line, there's no child who's being enrolled in that school. What would be the problem? You have built the school, right? But children are not coming. What would be the problem? It's a policy issue, right? You designed and you are now implementing the program. Here's the school. They are not coming. What would be the issue? Right? That, when you come back to evaluate, to give you a learning curve, right? The issue should be very, very simple. Did you consult people in area 15? That's they were the school. Or just brought a school and built it, right? Have you seen programs operated in the rural areas which don't work, right? Because a politician just brought something which people don't want, and still be there until it collapses, right? That gives you a learning curve that, okay, in any policy and program implementation, you need stakeholder engagement. You know, we mentioned that, right? Let stakeholders tell you what they want. And assess if you think that is a need. We want to come back to us here. Norm sir, what is that? Tell me. What is this and what is this norm sir? And with an example.
An example.
Tell us what a need is and with an example if you have.
A need is something that you cannot live without. A want is something that you can live without.
So just give us one example. I mentioned about a program in area 15 to bring a school. 5 months down the line, there's no pupil enrolled in that school. And what we're looking at is the learning here. We are doing an evaluation, you discover 5 months, nobody's done. Yet there are a lot of children around, right? And they don't come. And yet they still go to school, right? Which schools? Private schools somewhere else. So what will be the problem? The problem will be very simple. You did not engage beneficiaries, right? You check. You want a school in area 15 or not? They'll tell you, no, students go to private schools. Government schools, you have nothing. Right? Those are the issues. Why didn't they build a primary school in area 15? You have a primary school in area 15. Why? Not that they don't know that there will be children in area 15. They know, but they didn't build one. Why?
First, primary school was nearby. One was at the Chibonega primary school, so it was not possible for them to build a school here.
Right. So, the part of policy evaluation as a continuous process starts like that. There must be reasons why they didn't do that, right? But why didn't they put a playground for children in area 15, area 47, everywhere? You have a playground for children? Why? Simple question, but very difficult question. Why? 47 you go, you don't have anything. 15 you go, you don't have anything. All those big areas you go, there's not even a place for children to play. Why? Wrong policies. Right? Because in our developed, in our colleagues developed countries, those amenities are always available for children. They take care of those things. Somewhere, a ground, a hall, right? We got a library, whatever it is, all sorts of things. Recreation and something like that for children around. But here we just want to remember that Bonam. Now, Bonam will produce children. Where do the children go? Right? Simple. That's why the children from areas like these indulge in drug and alcohol. Because they wake up in the morning, they have nowhere to go. Seriously, you be down to the bad. But when they move out and cross, go into Saint, go into Musiliza, they see the freedom around, right? Children running around, playing, all sorts of things, and they run from there, they go there. 56%, 60% of children in 47 have a drug problem and alcohol problem. They go straight into Musiliza, cheap alcohol, they come back. Because they have nothing to do nowhere. walking around from here to Musiri, so what they see is recreation. Right? So you can say our policies, can be work to the benefit of the country or something like that. And that's why evaluation becomes important. So the questions I'm giving you are the questions which must come out as a learning curve, right? What mistakes did I make? That's your learning curve. When you say, what mistake did I make? That becomes your learning curve, right? Because you have to find out why you make that mistake. That gives you a learning curve. Why am I performing so poorly? Right? The why am I performing so poorly? It will tell you your preparation. You prepare on Sunday to write on Monday. Right? What do you get? Nothing. So that becomes what we call the learning curve. So here, the intervention gives you actual outcome of whether or not the intervention has been good enough and can give you the results. Let's look at some of these two types of evaluations, or two types of evaluations. There's one which we call the formative evaluation. Today we shall dwell on this one, and when we come next, we shall dwell on the other one and we close. So the formative evaluation. Yes.
Is your work is on?
Yeah, sorry.
Is it on?
Yeah. What is supposed to be? Does it show there when it is on?
Yeah, it shows a green light.
No, it says the print is green light. The print is supply. Okay, so there are two types of evaluations. Today we will dwell on the formative evaluation and see what is it. When I say formative, to form is to do what? That? When talking about formative evaluation, what is it? It's an initial evaluation which helps you to form or to create or to build something like that, right? So it is usually the initial evaluation which informs you about what you are going to do, how you are going to do it, and something like that. So the formative evaluation, in most cases, is just about you finding out what you are going to do and how you are going to do it. Naturally, in your policy, you have had your goals, your objectives, mission, whatever it is, all those things. And these things will have given you a goal that you want to achieve, and also your outputs at the end. Now, for you to get there must be some processes which you must go through. One of those processes is how do you get the information and how do you analyze that information? So that's going to help you when you start to implement an activity, as a program or as a project. No, what's the difference between a project and a program? No, I've changed my mind now. It must be yes. Project, program. What is the difference? Anybody? Yamikani?
A program is something big than a project. For instance, we will see that a project is part of a program. A program can have many projects. Meaning that they can be one program with like 10 projects. You mean?
Okay. That's a very good attempt. Anybody else? Okay. Good. The project is a designed package of activity or an activity, right? That an individual or organization or government intends to implement, right? To targeting a specific geographical area. Could be geographical area. Or it could be a specific category of people, for example, right? So it could be something targeting children as a project, and it could be something targeting children in Idoa, for example. Right. But if it is in Idoa and covering the whole door, it becomes a program within that specific area, right? Well, that's a specific area of focus. So it will be specific. But if you look at it from a broader viewpoint, it becomes a project, not a program. But you can say, Joa Chapu program. See your church, because you're covering the whole door. Right. But from your headquarters point of view, it is not a program, it's a project in the door. But when you're in the door, it becomes a program because you're covering the whole area around. So that's how you can look at these two things. But a project is normally focuses on a specific geographical area, and you can have other smaller pieces within it, but as a project, that specific area. And as you put it, a program is broader and wider, covers a defined geographical area which is bigger than what the project does. Now, normally programs, you see, you understand my explanation here. Viewed from outside, right, and viewed from inside, can it differ the way you understand it? If you're looking at the HIV and AIDS program, for example, right, it's for your morale, it's broader. But within that broad spectrum of the program, there are projects within which focus on specific geographic areas, right? HIV and AIDS for children maybe in Ponera becomes a project within the program, where you put it. So the program is broader, but there are some small pieces around, right, as the projects within. So that is how it is. It's something when, of course, for anyone, anybody, the project is an activity undertaken in a specific geographical area, focusing on one specific area that you want to address. This is how we look at it, right? And the program is broader in coverage and can bring in smaller pieces within that. I give an example of HIV and AIDS as a program across Malawi, right? But your smaller programs are not immunization for whatever children and something like that. We focus on children in that area and something like that. So this is how you should be able to do. So it is quite an interesting area if you want to define what it is and something like that. But what I like is the creativity that you must have. And the example I gave you, if you are doing HIV and AIDS in Joe, right? As an organization, for example, Action Aid, whatever, right? To Action Aid, that is a program in Idoa because they're covering the whole door, right? But for anybody looking at that program which is in Idoa, right? It becomes a project if you get it from the context of Malawi as a country, right? So we're having HIV and AIDS project in Idoa because they're looking at it from outside, right? So this is how you understand those. I know there are a lot of different definitions that help people understand it, but the important thing is you put yourself in a situation. If it is you focus on something in an area, it becomes your project. But if you want to cover the whole area, it becomes a program. But if it is bigger, like a district or something like that. So it depends on how you look at those. And also, there are two things, inside looking and outside looking, right? You see the examples I just gave you. Okay. So here, when you look at the formative time, this is it. This is the beginning where you're trying to look at what data is available, how do I analyze it, how do I go ahead trying to implement or design a program. And also, it helps you to get the feedback. Remember the feedback issue I talked about? I mentioned about you can have a school in area 15, but people don't take the car. The children don't come, right? It's because of that lack of feedback. Because one, you didn't consult your stakeholders. That's not the project, right? Because if you consult your stakeholders, then you get that type of feedback. You say, no, actually in area 15, our children don't go to government schools, right? They go to private schools. Because you can afford, well, the resources. That's why. But what we want here is a police station. Because thieves come to bother us, they think we have money. Right? Now you have got your feedback, right? So you go back and you are constantly looking at issues of security in area 15. If you tell them, we want to build police station or whatever outposts in area 15, one contribution, everybody will contribute. Because they are going to be beneficiaries, right? Of that security. But if you say, want to build primary school in area 15, one contribution, nobody will contribute. They tell you no. Federation of Belgium, but they're not doing that. Right? So that's why we do the formative evaluation to get feedback from people that we are dealing with, and also it helps us to get how you map out the strengths and weaknesses of the policy. When we are designing this policy, was it real necessary? I think I've given you a lot of examples. The lower share, for example. Now the lower share guys are very happy. There is a coming, right? They're just praying to Mona there. Difficult tomorrow. Well, no, they're not going to give them blankets, chocolate, child, and so on, right? Yeah, every year they know that. And the government still knows they're spending and they're going to spend. They're also getting ready now for people in the lower share. Something went wrong somewhere at the beginning. So people are used to that. So whatever they bring now, they are resisting, right? Some can be the material here, let's present to Momo. Just like that. No, you die and say, ah, no money every day. You come to complain to you. So all those things around. So this is what it is. It's a feedback mechanism that it gives us. So let's look at the importance of this type of evaluation. Actually, just give us very valuable information that can help us in anything that we want to do, particularly implementation of programs or projects, and also it gives us an opportunity to look at the areas where we can correct what we think is wrong. For example, if you came here with a school program in area 15, and when you're engaging with stakeholders and people around, they tell you, no, but we don't need this. What we need is security. Now, when you go back, you have to change, right? Because you are now refining your view of what you want to do in area 15 by addressing what the people need in court, right? Needs at that particular time, and not what they want. Is that clear what we are about? What do they need? Right. A need is a necessity. That's what she told us, right? You can't do without. That's one way. The second way is that a need is identified by a third party, something outside yourself, right? A need should be seen by somebody, not yourself. I'll give you an example. If our president gave you 5 million now, all of you, and he says this 5 million must be spent by 3 o'clock today. If you don't, we'll take it back. What are you going to do? What are the needs that you want to do? First and foremost, his action will be wrong. Because that's not what you want. See your church? Just give you 5 million, just go there. Okay, when it was 5 million, come with my agree that I joke. See that? Because it's yeah. So, you're overwhelmed, you've never touched that. You see something like that. Yeah. But if I came here and asked you what you really think that 5 million can do to you, what would you think? What would you do? Quickly, what would you do? You can buy an iPhone here for me. See you.
No,
No?
we'll buy some things that we don't need like
Yeah. So
um,
what I'm trying to emphasize on here is that the need is usually identified from outside of yourself, right? Because that can only be identified through an assessment of that particular individual's situation. That becomes the need. Because if I come to you and I say, I think you need pizza. Is it pizza something that you can do without if you have seen? Okay. So that will not become a need from a viewpoint. I will be a very bad assessment, but assessment also, right? But if I say yes, I think you need a better shelter. This house, the rains are coming around. It's dangerous for you. Can we give you some malata? We give you a better house? Yes. But if I say, here is the money, build a better house, it makes sense to buy a car. Because that's what you want. Because you see people driving around, right? So you can say that a want is self-driven, right? To me, it's self-interest. That's the one. A need is outside, right? From yourself, but identified by somebody who has done a thorough assessment of your situation to substantiate that what you can provide is a need, and a need is something that can support life. That's what she said. Yeah. I gave you an example of a piece at the scene. If you tell them you pass a pizza, we don't give you, but there's sim, when you read it, there are a couple of it, and you will not die. So that is not a need. So this is how we look at it. So here, your evaluation here, it gives you all those types of understandings of what people would think or what your beneficiaries would be looking for. So this is how it should. And also, it helps us to ensure that the outputs and the outcomes actually meet intended public needs, right? You have never seen anywhere when you started looking at the policy issues where I've used the term want, right? Because the policy is being looked at from outside and we're focusing inside into who do we target. But for us to target those people appropriately, then we have to do the assessments around, right? To understand what they think is important to them or necessary, and also what we think as experts is necessary for them or not. So this is how the liberation comes in. And here, as I mentioned earlier, it becomes a learning platform as well for implementers and even decision makers. I think we have seen quite a lot of things. Particularly politicians bring things which people never think about. But I was traveling to some village. During the rainy season, it's a lot of trouble. This time around, I went there. The guy called a world councillor has built a nice concrete bridge, right? So that we'll have no problems. But the problem is that bridge has built, a car cannot pass, it's too narrow for a car. Yeah. So you can see what he wanted himself to build a bridge where people can cross around. See what I did?
Yeah.
But do not ask people. People who go there driving, whether we go there, but there's put up concrete. And he says it's costing over 10 million. Very small, very short, maybe about 3 meters. And very thin. Over 10 million. So you start looking at the politics and policies. What are they? Yeah. So that is how you would look at this. Let's look at something else here. Why? What is the goal of formative evaluation? One, it helps us to improve the design of programs. Formative will always help you on your design, but informing you, that's what is formative. As you are forming, it will inform. It's formative because it informs you, right? And this is how we do it. And also, when it comes to implementation, then it becomes easy for you because you have learned a lot of things along the way as you're designing and also as you're planning to start implementation. Then you have learned quite a lot of issues that will guide you. And also the issue of choices, for example. How do you choose certain things over certain other things around? Right? So here it also gives you an opportunity to exercise strategic choices, things that you're going to choose that are going to build into your program and also that are going to lead to actual attainment or achievement of your intended goals, something like that. And also, it's an approach which gives you the direction. It's very easy because you cannot just come up and say, I'm going to have a project or a program without a pathway or a roadmap. You need a roadmap which gives you that type of pathway to get down to implementing your program as designed. So this is how it will be. And also, as I mentioned earlier on, it does give you a quick evaluation of is it going to be effective or not? Are we going to attain a level of efficiency or not? Right? Are we going to meet our intended goal or not? And if not, what next? And that's why it provides us with the feedback mechanism. It becomes our feedback mechanism to understand all these things around here. Right. Let's look at am I too fast? From too fast, so
Ndivesti umasananizo zina
Zingatia.
wote si mziwa nima mumu nima mziwa na musabasi
yeah, so here, these are some of the issues that we are talking about here, to give you that feedback. And after, in any program design, if you cannot do your assessment, you cannot understand what is on the ground, and also what may impede your implementation, it becomes quite complicated. That's why evaluation becomes important. Let's look at what some of the purposes of formative evaluation. I mentioned about the issue of feedback. Just give us feedback to yourself as a designer, as an implementer, as a stakeholder, or as a beneficiary, even when you are a decision maker. It will give you those things. So that formative evaluation will do that. Number two, it's easy to see and visualize the outcomes out of that program. No, sir, today is your day. Yes, your day today. What is an outcome and what is an output? An outcome and an output.
An outcome.
Which comes first, outcome or output?
Outcome. Yeah, I think so.
Okay, give us an example.
Okay, let me give you an example of an output.
Yeah.
So it's like initially,
Go ahead.
there's something, or maybe something that you want to form or you want to start. You come up with the ideas, and when you come up with ideas, you put them into action. Into action, that's when you're doing the processes of everything that's happening, and then you come out with the output. Yeah.
Then
Outcome.
yeah, we try. Input, output, right? Input, output, input, output. But what happens after the output? The output. Right? Can you give us some example? Yes. That's a small example. Zimmerman. So give us an example in that area. Input, output. Yes, so input, output. Okay, simple example. You have a policy which intends, I've given this example I think over and over again, intends to protect girls from dropping out of school, right? Your inputs here will be so many. The infrastructure, right? The human resource, financials and whatever it is, and even the identification of those girls you want to protect, right? Now, the output here, you want protected girls, see that? Protected girls who must complete. This will be your output. So your measure of success of your project or your program will be dependent on the numbers of girls who have been protected from early marriages also, or girls who have been able to complete, right? That's your output. Now, out of these girls, what will come out? All that. They've all completed their school, whatever it is. What comes from what they do here becomes the outcomes. Right? They go work in government. Outcome is increased labor force in government. And leads to economic whatever it is. Also those things, right? Too many things that happen in government. So that will be your outcome here. But the output that you wanted to have is all these girls must not be married. They should complete, right? That's your output. So if somebody comes around and says, okay, you have this project here. What did you get out of this project? No, the 300 girls wanted to protect. I've protected 270 from 300 that you wanted. See you. Yeah, 300. So your output would be 270 girls protected, right? Now, what they'll do after that will be the outcomes. Right? Now, those outcomes, are they beneficial or not beneficial? That's why evaluation is coming and all sorts of things, right? Assessment is something to check. But as far as the project is concerned, you are supposed to protect this, you produce this as your output. You failed to protect another 30. See what I said? What is this? It's set. What is this set? And this set got pregnant on the way. See what I said? This one becomes what we call a throughput. So there's something along the way. No 310 school maliza, sio je? Yes. Wina tajira au ndi wina asiaza kuelewa kwa cheti kwa sila kwa mchire. azipwete owakweteka siyocho safika huko. That is a throughput. So throughput is an unexpected output. The throughput, an unexpected. Something you don't, when you're applying, you didn't expect it. Out of this 300, one, third of them will be pregnant or be married. Because what you want is 300, 300. But in between, certain things happen, right? These girls get pregnant. So, what do you think is the problem? What would be the problem? You are the question, ask first.
I know. Go ahead.
Who should go ahead? Ask the question. Okay.
Okay, I want to ask you things like of myth.
Mm-hmm.
That's about your second one of myth.
Mm-hmm.
When you have planted, let's say, 60 hectares of soil,
Mm-hmm.
and you meet the El Nino disaster,
Mm-hmm.
that rice,
Yeah.
what can you call that?
That one. Opportunity cost. It's not a throughput. It's just an opportunity cost. See that some opportunity, bad opportunity has occurred. Right? Those are things I was arguing with this company called Pixas. You heard about Pixas? They do a lot of provide inputs, whatever it is, and something like that, right? To farmers. And I went there and said, I want to produce groundnuts. This was this year, that was last year. I want to produce groundnuts. So once you produce, you still take it to them, they buy from you, right? So I identified my land, it was an input, my labor, everything, my input, and they gave me seeds as an input. But for me, at the end, I must give them back the equivalent of those bags of seeds that they gave me. That's fine. And one of the input here was the extension worker, an expert, right? Who is supposed to advise me on what to do and something like that. Right? Now, these are dangerous undertakings because you are dealing with too many things around. The other input here is weather, where nobody has control of. Right? So last year the rains never came. My 10 hectares, everything, nice, beautiful groundnut. They didn't dry, but they didn't go to get so dry, they couldn't get to sit down and produce. So all those things were just hanging. Nothing, no, nothing out. And there was no expert. So I take him, where are my experts? They are a consultant for the company, and say, checks around, says, this is the waste of time, this is the zero. Right? So it is zero. So what does that zero mean? Please, how do I give you the money? I can't take my money. This one away. I wanted the money from here so that I give you the money. That's the question. So I said, now look, when you are doing these things, did you do the assessment? Did you check whether the hazards of the weather can affect these things? They said, oh, this and that. So, am I going to pay or not? You'll pay. I said, no, I cannot pay. Because I'm not going. Go back to him and say, you gave this one these things, but you didn't bring the rent. So who is going to ask? Right? That's why the issue of insurance comes. Yeah, so it means the insurance itself against the weather. In case it happens, the insurance will pay. They can't come back to me. I don't know what it is. I did everything. Up to the end, they came and checked, says, no, this is it. So you oppose those things. That one, those are incidentals, where you end up with what you call an opportunity cost. It's somewhere where you win or you lose. That's an opportunity cost, right? You win or you lose. But if in between here, right, something happened, animals came and ate everything, right? That would be a throughput. Something I didn't expect, and something that people don't expect, because I'm supposed to be here with my weapon to protect. See you? Yeah. That one, they are going to say you pay. You are careless. How did you allow animals to come there when you are supposed to have weapons? That's a throughput. An unexpected occurrence. Yes. The opportunity cost is something that you have no control over. It just happens. But you can also manage it, mitigate it. So the mitigation strategy was the insurance. But in case there is not come, insurance company will pay. How the insurance companies recover those, that's not the business, their business. So this is how this is work around. Yeah, so this is what the formative evaluation will be. Right? It gives you, actually, the whole of your design, it shows you. Like here, I give you an example of Pixar, right? They had their formative evaluation, right? Their design, you do this, you do that, this is how you are going to implement, all sorts of things. We'll be following you up, whatever it is, something like that. To be able to understand and also try to protect themselves from any hazards that may occur around. So formative actually informs you about how you can avoid some of these things around and something like that. And also, on my part, I had to always talk to their consultants. Can you come from 10 to 10? Can you come? So that anytime he comes, in my view, he writes a report. Because we cannot just come and visit and keep quiet. It means that's where it is. So I was thinking, okay, when he's leaving, as a boss, right? After buying the corporate, it means when he goes back to his feedback. Now, after the situation, you after the situation, you go something like that. But to me, because of a record from his boss, you visited so many times. What did you notice? Right? That's the problem. Did you advise him to? Yeah? You go, can you do spray mapara? Can you do this? That's part of that. So informative, it informs you exactly what you can do and how you can do some of these things. And also, it helps you to look at things that you can be focusing on. It's quite an interesting part of it. So let's just look at some types of formative evaluation. The types. One of those we mentioned earlier on, needs assessment is one type of a formative assessment. And I think I've given a lot of examples on this one already. Needs assessment is one of those formative assessments, evaluations. So needs assessment is a formative evaluation. It informs you, that's what it's an assessment, right? It informs you about what not or what to do, right? It focuses on identifying the actual needs around, priorities and all sorts of things. What are you supposed to do? What are you not supposed to do? How do you do it or how don't you do it? That's a formative evaluation. And also, usually, it's conducted at the beginning of any program or project. So you're trying to do this before you start. Before you start anything, there must be an assessment, and that gives you an indication of how you're going to progress and how things are going to be in the long run. Secondly, it helps the program designer to identify areas requiring attention. What areas are there that require attention? So this one will actually give you those areas. It will show you an indicator or give you indicators on which areas require more attention and something like that. The example that I just gave you means during that assessment, there's so many things that they noted. You have to do this, you do that, all sorts of things. That helps you in your design and also what you do just about the way. And also the individual needs and how to meet those needs. It becomes very easy and informative. Okay? You've come to see me here, yes. What do I need? You need so many workers, you need pesticides, you need this spray machine, you need all those things. It means I will now be informed to be able to do what was actually supposed to be done. That is one type of evaluation. Could I move on? The second type is what we call the process evaluation. Process evaluation, we normally focus on the quality of your work. It also focuses on how effective it's going to be. When you are going to do the implementation, how are you going to do it? What is it going to be like? And something like that. This one here gives you that type of arrangement. And also, it is conducted during the development of the process, the program, and also school when you're doing the actual implementation. This is the process evaluation. In other ways, it informs you during that process of developing the program, and also to be informing you as you go on to start implementation of that program. And that is where it really does help you. And if you check closely, formative